Oh, I just got off the phone with one of my mentors. His name is Kevin, and every time I get off the phone with him,
My name is Esther.
that's right, it is. Every time I get off the phone with this mentor of mine, let's go ahead and pull that down. Yeah, creepers on YouTube, sweetie. Um, that's one way to start a video. So every time I talk to his mentor Kevin, he like samurai swords my brain and like helps me keep it simple, and he just rocked my world. And I want to Oh no, you can't see me. I can see you just fine, sweetie. I want to I want to share with you the insight, the braingasm that Kevin just gave me. I think it's really going to change the way that you view business, regardless of what business you're in. I have had a challenge for many years. Hi, Pumpkin. Hi, Munchkin. I love you. All right, you want to help me make this video?
No.
Didn't think so. All right, so I've had this challenge for a long time of attracting and not knowing how to sell to the types of clients and customers that I really serve best. And instead, I tend to attract a lot of people who, I guess you would say, are getting started. And like, I'm totally happy to serve those people with my like free stuff. You know, I put out so much free stuff on my podcast and on here on YouTube, teaching people how to build $1 million businesses, $10 million businesses, but I really don't have all that much desire or energy to like talk about the nuances and the details over and over and over again. And what Kevin helped me see, and the reason why it's been difficult to do that is because I grew up in this internet marketing world with all these people who are selling make money online products. And I never enjoyed that. I always hated that game. And Kevin came in, and I was kind of talking to him about it because I was at his house a couple of weeks ago. And Kevin said something interesting to me. He was like, I told him about one of my clients that I'm building a business with. Like literally, I'm helping him build the business, and it's a really big company. And he said, "How much is that client worth?" And I said, "Well, that one client over 3 years is probably worth $3 to $5 million. That might be a little bit low, but this one client is probably worth $3 to $5 million." And he said, "All right, and how much is going to the mass market selling info products or selling even event tickets? How much is that going to make you if you do a really good job and work really hard for a few months?" And I was like, "A few $100,000? And I kind of waited and was like, "Oh, right." So I really will make way more money if you just switch who you're targeting, because that one client, there's 50 people like him that need my help. Now, here's why I tell you this. Working with that one client that I'm thinking of and people like him is really, really energizing and fun for me. It doesn't take a whole lot of work to be able to help that person because he's right within my sweet spot, skill set. My network helps that person, and his network probably has 10 people within his, the last 10 people that he called or texted on his cell phone probably need my help as well. And if I hung out with those people all the time, my life is a lot simpler, easier, richer, more fulfilling. And I spent so much energy trying to do everything else in my life. It's so interesting how someone else can point out what your greatest opportunities are, and it's really rare that you can see the 20% of activities that create the 80% of your results. Now, here's the takeaway. Here's the braingasm for you. It's very rare that the problem in your business, that the amount of money that you are leaving on the table is the result of what you are doing. It's very rare that your struggles are about where you're doing it or how you're doing it. Most of the time, it's about who. It's about who you're doing it for. A few years ago, actually about 10 years ago, I did some buying and selling of websites. So I had a course and I had a little business where I bought and sold websites, whole websites that were cash flowing businesses. And I sold this training for like $1,000. And I was like, I can't believe I'm selling it for $1,000. And it was a lot of work, but I was really happy to have $1,000 course. But I had a really hard time selling that because I was selling it as like a make money product. Well, then a few years ago, I met my buddy Ken Courtwright. And Ken Courtwright runs a service where he buys and sells websites for people. Not as a broker, but like he goes out and buys it and manages it for people. He just does it for them. And he makes hundreds of thousands of dollars per client, per customer. Sometimes, not all the time. Some people spend less. Some people spend more. I got about $1 million with him. I do. Now, I know how to do it myself. I just don't want to. I spent about $1 million with him as an investment.
I don't want to be here.
What's that, sweetie? Say that again.
I don't want to be in your room.
You don't have to be in my room. You can go play with your dolls elsewhere. Okay. She didn't want to be here. She didn't want to hear me talk about business. I bought her a Hello Kitty Monopoly game today. Got to teach them early. So anyway, the difference, I know just as much about buying and selling and scaling and monetizing websites as Ken, but I was charging $1,000. He was charging hundreds of thousands of dollars. What's the difference? Only difference? Same stuff, same knowledge. Only difference was who the buyer was. I was going to low-level, entry-level people where I probably could have served them just in the same way if I talked about the stuff for free, and then I served the high-level people that were like, hey, that sounds like a great investment. I want in on this. I probably could have done what Ken does, which is just treat it like an investment. He doesn't sell courses on how to buy and sell websites. If I had my way, I might help him develop one because he might get more clients as a result of doing so, which is another point here. There is like tons and tons of value to doing info courses and doing events, but not if there's not a back end to it. If there's no business behind it, if there's no real backing behind it, if there's no substantial business behind it all, what's the point? Like, the only reason I care about talking about building physical products brands because I want to put together roll-ups and private equity groups that buy businesses. I run a little incubator where I invest in businesses. I've documented and posted on YouTube the people that I invest in. I've interviewed them on my podcast. That's the whole reason I do this. From a financial standpoint, and yes, there's probably something said about ego, and I want to have a giant audience, right? And I get off on the fact that I've got X number of followers, and I genuinely like hanging out with a lot of people who follow me. It's why I do events, right? It's fun. But if your model is just selling information, man, that's just not the business I want to be in. It's never been the business I want to be in. Some people are great at it. It's not the business I want to be in. And I've been stuck in this mindset of like, how do I get out of it, if you will? And Kevin just came in and was like, let's look at the people who are paying you the most and the opportunity that lives in serving those people. What if you just served those people? And then I was like, oh my goodness, everything that I do ultimately will just lead to, it just supports me serving more of that person, and that's where my greatest opportunities are. You know, when I work with, I was working with somebody yesterday who has a following of about 1 million people, and I know how to build an 8-figure physical products brand around that person. That's an 8-figure business in a year. And I have all those systems. They don't. They have the audience. And together, we make millions of dollars. And if all of my attention was just on the best buyers, man, my life would be so much simpler, and so would yours. Which is why, even if you sell physical products, you're doing yourself a disservice by marketing on price, or by marketing on like a commodity. If you're selling commodities rather than playing the brand play and going to your best people, going to the best buyers. So that was my big takeaway. Like, you can market to the bottom barrel, or you can market to the best in the world. And it's hard to do both. And I would much rather market to people who energize me, because another thing that Kevin has shared with me that I thought was really insightful is the purpose of money is to have fun. That's the purpose of money. And if your business isn't fun, if the way you make money isn't fun, the rest of your life isn't going to be fun either. And it just gave me permission to cut off all of the things that aren't fun, that are not energizing, not easy, and just focus on the things that have multi-million-dollar potential. And you can still do the other things if they lead somewhere. Like I have a test group I'm walking people through right now on profitably launching products. And the reason for that is because if I can give someone that insight, which I can do very, very quickly without a lot of work, them having a multi-million-dollar business becomes really, really easy. And that person's going to probably go on to maybe qualify for the type of private equity group that I'm putting together. I might buy their company at some point. So solving those little pain points and getting paid to do it feeds the overall model in business. And it was just such a big click in my brain for me. And I realized how hard I've made business and life on myself at some points. And I hope this helps you look at your business and say, are there things that don't serve the overall model of my business? And if you're wasting your time doing those things, you can cut them out and just serve the best buyers and the best people. If you had a braingasm, let me know in the comments. I had a big one today. I had multiple braingasms. And I think that's gonna be a big shift in my life and career. And I was just excited to share with you guys. Hope you got something out of this rant. And I'm gonna go play with my little girl. Have a good one.